Well, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening to you, YouTube, wherever you may be. It's July 26th, 2022, here in Chicago. I got my coffee. I hope you're not drinking coffee. That's a very bad drug. I just woke up, so I'm like, oh, what a day. Yesterday, I the day before yesterday, I went to bed at midnight and I woke up at 4 a.m. and I had an idea to build an amplifier. Sometimes this will happen to me, and it's very difficult for me to do anything else but whatever that idea was that came to me when I was in that, like, in between being fully conscious and awake and asleep state. So I accomplished that goal yesterday. I spent like 12 plus hours working on that amp, but about 3 hours in there, I was on the phone with my new friend Robert. So yeah, I got a sore on my palm from using a side cutter tool on some thick plastic. I had to chop a lot of plastic out yesterday with a side cutter, and I goosed my hand here in my palm, and then I got a cut here, this razor cut that's like infected on my right on my joint of my finger. I'm gonna have to tape that up. I'm gonna have to bandage that one. And my legs. This is embarrassing. Where's that purple? Could you bring me that purple animated toy and then take some of this stuff back?
I don't
I,
really know if I know where it is.
it's on the table by the wall.
Um,
Well, it's a
I don't think you put it back where
it's an animated. It's a battery powered toy, like a squishy purple,
it's odd.
and it's got a LED face with different color LEDs, and you poke this thing in the belly, and it goes boing, boing, and then it says different sayings and dances around. And I was using that to entertain my cat and myself. And it plays music and dances, so I was dancing around like a fool, and I pulled all these muscles in my legs. I'm like, I kept playing with this thing, and it was fun, and I was having a great deal of fun watching Kita just like
Well, it looked
he
was
wasn't
See, this thing looks like seizure inducing.
a seizure inducing thing. Here's this, honey, those, I'd like you to put those in my left, those
I think I did.
tissues, and the scissors has to go back.
The bottom left, right?
So today is, yeah, I'm in terrible shape. I strained. I didn't pull muscles, but I like strained a lot of muscles in my upper body. Using a handheld hacksaw, like a mini hacksaw, that tool, and then chipping away at this plastic with this nibbler. So I am just wrecked. I am absolutely wrecked. I need a shot. Somebody needs to come and give me a comfortably numb shot to get me to the show. Today is a very special day for Petey. It is 38 years to the date where I saw Roger Waters the first time, and I am going to see Roger Waters again today on his farewell tour. So this is like, it couldn't be a more important day for me. I had purchased the tickets to go see this. Then I had found out that my brother had purchased tickets. So him and his wife and his daughters are going. He chose to ignore Roger Waters, and I don't know if he's ever heard the solo albums. I don't know what he's thinking. He's just like, he doesn't want to know anything about the tour so he can have a surprise. But like ultimately, he should have went on YouTube and listened to some of this music to familiarize himself with it. So it wouldn't be the first time that he's hearing songs off of Is This the Life We Really Want, Amused to Death, Radio Chaos. I doubt he'll be playing anything off Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking. He tends to not do that. But he is playing one song off Radio Chaos, which is huge. He's playing The Powers That Be, and I cannot fucking wait. This is such a huge deal for me, you guys. This concert, the first show that I saw, first Roger Waters concert, blew my mind. It was incredible. He had a shit hot band. Mel Collins was playing saxophone. Eric Clapton was playing guitar. He had Andy Fairweather Lowe. Like it was spectacularly great, his band. And they did change the music up a lot. It was like really like live versions of the stuff. It was changed up. I remember opening up the set with If and playing an hour and a half of Pink Floyd and taking a break. And he said, "We'll be back with Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking," in his thick accent. And people left. People thought that the show was over. It was like they had their minds blown so hard because there's a circular movie screen behind the band, and he was showing all the original concert animations, the Gerald Scarfe work, and I had really good seats. I was on the first mezzanine, off to the side, so I'm looking right down at Waters. Pretty good seats. They weren't nosebleeds. They weren't in the back. And he had a holophonic sound system that he brought out on the road, which to my recollection, there was PA cabinets everywhere. They had them like a double wide row of large speaker cabinets going up columns, and then there would be a gap and then another row of double wide columns going all the way up the venue, and then like a ring of them around, and then in the center there was cabinets. So he, during Brain Damage Eclipse, the guy laughing was flying around in a figure eight in the rafters of the Rosemont Horizon. And there's a sound effect in it's at the end of Welcome to the Machine. It almost sounds like a siren that turns into an elevator, this sound. And that sound, they were vamping in like E flat, and this thing came in, this drone, and it was kind of like chorusing, like it was oscillating, and it was really loud, and you could feel it pulsing, and it started raising in pitch, and they moved it up when it raised in pitch slowly at the same time. It was synced, and it was about this thick, and it was so powerful and so loud you could feel it oscillating in your body, and then it went whoop and shot up into the rafters, and there was a gasp of silence, and then everyone like just started laughing, and like you hear all these people chattering. It's just like on the album, but we provided that because there's like the door opens and it actually pans from right to left on the record after that note hits its peak. The door of the elevator opens and there's this party. You can hear the people conversing and glasses clinking on the album, and then when the door opens, it's like it's really crafty the way that they did those sound effects on the album, and the way they did it live was so cool. And yes, I was tripping. I took a full hit of this Black Dove LSD, and it was, how you're like your vision. I guess that's more with shrooms, maybe. I think with shrooms, like you can see better. I don't know if you ever noticed that. Like you get eagle eye vision when you take psychedelic mushrooms. You can see really good, like clear. Like it's almost like you have binoculars on. Like everything is far away, but you can still see it clearly in a venue. So that's like a really neat positive side effect of taking a lower dose. That's the thing about psychedelics at a show. And he's dealing, the lyrics are dealing with some complicated issues. The songs off the final cut that he did were fantastic. Like they really worked. Like the Gunner's Dream live slayed me. It absolutely slayed me. I was just crying. It was so fucking sad. This image of this field of poppies, and there's a little boy's arm holding this poppy, single poppy. And like I remember what that looked like. Like it looked, the way that the light was bouncing off the kid's arm was very psychedelic. Like it had been that image was processed to look a certain way, which at the time was it just worked. So he takes a break. People are leaving. It was almost like I read another person's account of the show. He said that everyone was tripping at that show, and he said there was like an LSD panic that happened when he took his break. That everyone was like freaking out, and they all like panicked and left. He said they found a big bag of weed because the people that were in their row freaked out and left their weed because they, for whatever reason, didn't want to get busted or just were so incapacitated that they couldn't bring their weed. So I've read people recounting their version of events of that concert. If you look it up, I'm on there. I make multiple comments and retell the story about how much of an impact this show had on my life. I was 17. My dad had died. I was 16, maybe. I don't know. 84. Yeah, I was 17. So we had lost my father, and at that time I was listening to The Wall a real lot. Like that's all I was listening to. So when we lost my dad, I continued to listen to The Wall. That's all I listened to. And the final cut. So being able to see that show at that time with an impressionable young me, it raised the bar so high that if I go to any concert other than Roger Waters, I'm kind of like, like it was good, but it didn't play with my emotions, and it didn't I didn't have that whoa, holy cow thing that I get when I go to a Roger Waters concert. And it's the same thing with Gilmour. It's the same music, it's the same songs, but it's not Roger Waters singing. It's that guy, the guy who wrote about this hole in his heart where his dad was gone. His whole life coming up, he didn't have a father. And that messed with his head. It fucked him up. And he wrote this music. And that's what people don't understand about the difference between seeing Roger Waters and David Gilmour is. When you're there in the presence of the man who wrote the music, and he's up there singing it with his twisted, bitter, angry face, there's something that comes across that it can't happen unless you're in the same room with that guy. And that's the magical element of where it's whoa, where it has an effect on me. That emotional element is missing when I see David Gilmour perform. Yeah, David Gilmour's up there. He's got his head tipped back like he does when he sings, his big fat jowls, and he sings like a bird. And these people that say Dave Gilmour is a better singer, I just want to wring your neck, because I don't want to hear David Gilmour singing those songs. Even if he recorded them on the album, I want to hear Roger sing those songs. It's literally the biggest no-brainer, and why am I even talking about this or thinking that I need to explain it? It's so unbelievably ridiculous that people would favor DG over RW. It's the most ridiculous thing. And I've spoken on this topic, and I've made videos, and now people, I had a guy the other day tell me, oh, you hate David Gilmour. I saw a video you made about David Gilmour. You can't stand him. You read him the riot act. And it's well, maybe that's the impression that you got. And that's a reaction to anytime I click on anything relating to Waters, there's people from David Gilmour's camp in there shitting all over Roger, saying David Gilmour is a better singer and musician. Oh my God, would you fucking drop it already? It's not a competition. Those guys did their best work when they were together. Obviously, Dark Side of the Moon is beyond perfect. And that was when the band was closer to fully functioning on all cylinders, with all four members contributing practically equally, and that's a fact. Yeah, grab that call. So I'm going to be going to see Roger Waters today. I will be back. Yes, please. I will be back.
Hi, just hold on a second.
I will be back at some point with a review of the show to share that with you guys. So you enjoy your weekend, and if you don't yet have tickets for This Is Not a Drill, I would urge you to do so. So take care, and I will talk to you guys soon.